Ben Shapiro asks a very eminently practical question at nationalreview.com this morning. How exactly would Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump govern? The bottom line commonality is that the president that each candidate would be is determined by what they believe the office means, putting their own stamp, their own personal stamp on it. Now, what kind of president would Donald Trump make? What kind of president would Hillary Clinton make? Those questions were not answered definitively during the first presidential debate, and nobody should have expected otherwise. Mainly because Hillary Clinton spent most of the debate trotting out old talking points, old propaganda, while feeding Trump enough rope to hang himself from a gibbet of his own construction, which he did. But we have one basic indicator: what they think of the office itself. Every presidential candidate has a picture of what the presidency represents. Bill Clinton thought the presidency was JFK's Camelot, an image-first, good-time position designed to give Americans a feeling of hope and fun. That's how he became America's first reality TV president. Bill Clinton saw the presidency as a piece of performance art. He wrote in his autobiography, "I decided I wanted to be in public life as an elected official. I loved music and thought I could be very good, but I knew I would never be John Coltrane or Stan Getz. I was interested in medicine and thought I could be a fine doctor, but I knew I would never be Michael DeBakey. But I knew I could be great in public service." The presidency was all simply an expression of personal ambition for Clinton, and that's the way he treated it. George W. Bush thought the presidency was a paternal office, a model for dignified governance. That's why he saw the Clinton presidency as a blot after his father's staid White House stint and pledged to restore honor and dignity to the office. To that end, he wanted his presidency to demonstrate compassion as well as stoic self-possession. Barack Obama thought the presidential office was created to provide Americans with a moral guide. While half-heartedly decrying his own role as moral arbiter, Obama refers continuously to the arc of history, the requirements of acting morally in accordance with who we are, or who we are. He sees himself as a guiding voice in shaping a new progressive value system, replacing the traditional American Constitution and Judeo-Christian heritage, in creating, ta-da, new human beings. So where does that leave us with Hillary and Trump? Hillary Clinton thinks the presidency is a technocratic job, an expert playing with the levers and gears of American life. She's never been able to clearly express why she wants to be president. She thinks she's owed it because she's been working inside the system for so long. She knows how best to operate without the instruction manual. She's less interested in the presidency as a tool to reshape society than as a way of gradually pushing people to act in certain ways. She's always been an advocate for systems, which is why she decided not to act in accordance with mentor Saul Alinsky's suggestion to break the system from the outside. As she told Black Lives Matter extremists last year, "I believe you change laws, you change allocation of resources, you change the way systems operate. You're not going to change every heart." Especially not with Molotov cocktails. Now, Trump believes that the presidency is merely a cadeal office, His only knowledge of politics is via his self-proclaimed bribery of public officials. He thinks the president can order members of the military to murder children. He says that as president, he alone can solve various problems. Sounds a lot like Obama, doesn't it? And solving them includes punishing members of the media with whom he disagrees, in flagrant violation of the First Amendment. He pledges to single-handedly rewrite both domestic law and American foreign policy, certainly the former of which is blatantly unconstitutional in violation of Article 1, Section 1. So this election pits the leftist technocrat against the National Socialist strongman. Think Benito Mussolini. And if you want to go Godwin, be my guest. Now, Hillary is dangerous because all leftists in positions of power are dangerous. But Hillary's presidency represents something existentially dangerous only if you believe, as she does, that she's a highly competent politician. But she isn't. Not remotely. The presidency isn't a model UN position. It requires the capacity to use the bully pulpit, as Obama has. In other words, to persuade. She has no such capacity. It requires building trust with the American people. She doesn't have any of that either. President Hillary looks far more like the incompetent President Jimmy Carter than the transformational President Barack Obama. She's a tinkerer who mistakes herself for a master craftswoman. And that is why we have nothing to fear from a Hillary Clinton presidency. Boom! Trump, though, is a different story. Trump doesn't know the system. And he doesn't care about the system either. He's entering the system to destroy it from the inside, Saul Alinsky-like, by his own accounting. Burn it down! Burn it down! Burn down the Constitution? Okay, well, that sounds like something... Again, that's what Barack Obama spent the past 8 years doing. Why would any Republican want to emulate that path? That means that Trump doesn't know where his limits lie and doesn't care. He's only comfortable using the bully pulpit, emphasis on bully, way more than pulpit, as we discussed in the previous video, or negotiating broad agreements with supposed enemies so as to declare himself a genius deal maker, or offering payoffs to those he wishes to buy. Hillary is acutely aware of the presidency's limits and thinks she can work around them. The danger of Trump is that he isn't even aware of his limits because he believes the president has no limits and should not have any limits. Dictator, in other words. So which is scarier? The far leftist who wants to twist the system to her advantage? Or the National Socialist who wants to burn it all down? For conservatives, well, the answer is, hell, the alt-right may want to burn the system down because the left has controlled the system for so long, but it's the system that has stopped Barack Obama from utterly destroying the country, believe it or not. By the same token, conservatives understand that the wholesale corruption of the system itself, the hijacking of the bureaucracy of the executive branch, renders it an institutional tool for the left that outlives the current occupant of the Oval Office. In the end, the question may come down to an assessment of the future. Can we restore the presidency to its constitutional role? Not if you elect Donald Trump. I mean, and not if you elect Hillary Clinton either, but the point is, And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again, if Hillary Clinton is elected, the right can perhaps come back together, reunite in opposition to her. And she would be, as Mr. Shapiro said earlier, far more like Jimmy Carter than Barack Obama. If Donald Trump were to win, he would do almost all the same things that Hillary Clinton would, but Republicans would be put in the position of having to defend it or spin it, and in the process commit political and ideological suicide. Because the disastrous results of a Trump administration would fall squarely on the head of the GOP. And guess what that would mean for 2020? The Democrats would be in the driver's seat. I mean, Hillary Clinton talks about running for Obama's third term. You know, Trump would be Obama's third term as well. And that would guarantee a fourth Obama term, if you want to extend the metaphor. If Donald Trump wins, the right is done, is finished until the middle of the next decade. Is that what so-called conservatives, cuck-servatives really want? Is that what's going to happen if Trump wins? Again, can we restore the presidency to its constitutional role? We can do so a lot sooner, at least potentially, if Hillary wins than if Trump does. If so, voting for someone who wishes to destroy the system, like Trump, becomes impossible. If not, we may as well elect the lesser of two evils would-be dictator. But let me ask you this question. We'll close with this. Isn't the system, even in a gutted facade-like sense, still the United States Constitution? So therefore, isn't the United States Constitution precisely what Donald Trump seeks to tear down? Would conservatives really support that?